Ravens fans, you clicked on this video, you are excited for this coming season, and in my opinion, here are a couple of things that can get the Ravens to host that Lombardi Trophy come February. All right, let's start with the offense. Okay, I do think that it really starts with less penalties. I do believe that the penalties, especially beginning of the season, the amount of penalties from the offensive line and the offense in general were egregious. It killed the drives, it killed momentum, it swung momentum back to the opponent. When your special teams did develop pretty good field position, you wasted it by going back 10, 20, 30 yards with all these penalties, made kicks harder than they needed to be, and it was just bad stuff, man. When you're playing from behind every single time, yardage-wise, is not a good way to play football. So I do expect the O-line to have way more discipline this year, because if they can do that, I think that the plays and the schemes that will be ran for this offense will be way more effective. That's my biggest note for the offense. Cause I do think Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman is going to have a huge year. I do believe in Mark Andrews still. I believe Mark Andrews comes this season with fire, and I think he has a Pro Bowl year. I think Mark Andrews has a Pro Bowl and All Pro year. I think the same thing with Rashad Bateman. I think Rashad Bateman is going to be key to this offense. And same thing with Zay Flowers. I think Zay Flowers will have another 1,000-yard season. But I do think Rashad Bateman is going to step up. I think he's going to be he's going to have a bigger role in this offense. And don't forget DeAndre Hopkins. I think the rotation and the receiving core right now that they have for the Ravens is going to be very lethal and is going to be easy money sometimes, because you don't have to worry about Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. This is year 2 of them together. I expect very big things. So I'm very pumped. It's going to be cinematic every single time they're on the field offensively. Let's go to the special teams. I think the Ravens have to step it up in the special teams department. I think if they can get better field position from these punts and set their offense up for a better positive yardage situation when it comes to when it comes to the offense coming back on the field, I think the Ravens will unlock something new with their offense, right? And because special teams is a very underrated part of football. I keep telling people, when you have a great return person, it really helps set up your offense so much better, man. And I do think Wester is the guy. I think he will be the long-term solution for punt returns, especially. I think whatever knowledge Devin Hester imparted to this young man when he was at Colorado helped him. I think Coach Prime, and I just think he was coached very well throughout college, and I think he's a very coachable player. So I think he's going to do wonders for them in the return game, and I think that he will find his way in the rotation eventually, if not this year, next year, as a wide receiver in that wide receiver room. I really like that. But I think better field position from the special teams can win you games and can help an offense that's super dynamic like the Ravens offense to do really great things when you're starting on like the 30 to 35 to 40 yard line instead of your 20, 15, 10 every time. So I do like the special teams to get a little better this year. I think they have a lot more better pieces, and I think more discipline, because sometimes the last couple of years the Ravens haven't had the best discipline on special teams. They've had some spectacular plays like the one against the Rams, but for the most part, there was someone disciplinedness when it came to special teams. And from a coach that prides himself in special teams, I don't like to see that. So if the special teams has way more discipline, I expect the Ravens to be firing on all 3 phases of football, and it's going to be beautiful to watch, trust me. Now let's go to the defense that I've been harping on since last season. Listen, this whole no turnovers in the postseason since Marcus Peters, you can't be doing that. You need to create turnovers, whether they're interceptions or fumbles. The secondary has to do something. They have to do something to help their team out. Because, and don't get me wrong, they've played some great defensive games, like the game against the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. I think they held them to like 10 points for the majority of the game. Great. But look how the Chiefs beat the Ravens, right? That turnover on Zay Flowers, that forced fumble on Zay Flowers, That is creating a turnover. That's changing momentum. That's swinging momentum back in your favor. That's stopping a very dominant team. That's making a very dominant team feel like this game's out of reach when really they were right there the whole game. The entire game they were right there. So that's what I mean. You need to make defensive plays. You need to create turnovers. As great as Patrick Mahomes is, what helped him win that game and secure the game is turnovers created by his defense. If the Ravens can get back to Ravens football, especially in the postseason when it comes defensively, I think it will change the entire. It will get them over the hump. That is one of the big things holding them back. I know a lot of people are going to look at the Lamar Jackson interceptions, and I get it. He needs to play better too. Obviously, no doubt about that. But it helps when you know you can rely on your defense to do something to change momentum or to get you an extra possession. Because Lamar has been doing all this with no extra possessions. So his margin of error is so small because he knows he may not get the ball back. So that's why when he throws these interceptions or he get these fumbles, it's devastating because the defense will not do the same for him. And that's not saying the Ravens defense isn't great. They obviously played out of their mind the second half of the game of the season. But remember last season for the first half, they played horrendous. They were going bar for bar with the Bengals defense, which is not somewhere you want to be at. So I expect this season, though, that Zach will have his guys ready to play. I think they start out the gate very aggressive. They play with attitude, especially Jair Alexander on the team. I think he's going to bring an extra aggressiveness and more leadership and veteranship to that secondary to get those turnovers or get those tackles for loss. I'm really excited for what the Ravens secondary is going to bring this season. Also, Roquan Smith, I need a Pro Bowl year out of you. If you can get a Pro Bowl year out of Roquan Smith, someone in your secondary, and someone in your defensive front, the Ravens will unlock, they'll get to that next level. They'll get to where they need to be. Because trust me, as great as the Ravens have been regular season for the last couple of years, they still haven't peaked. They still haven't gotten to their final form. And their final form, I'm telling you, is when their defense is threatening. When it's like, when the defense create turnovers or makes the opposing team's quarterbacks feel uncomfortable to even be at this game, that's when the Ravens will unlock that. When they have that Ray Lewis, Ed Reed-esque type of fear that they put. And, those two players are Hall of Fame greats. They can do it by themselves. I need that whole team to have that kind of message. Like, hey, every single time we're on the field, it's going to be a bad or long day for you. You're not about to just throw over us. You're not about to just run over us. I'm telling you, I need Roquan Smith. I think he was doing some health, like some balance of injuries and some other stuff last season. All that's behind him. This season, I need Roquan Smith to be a Pro Bowler, and we're looking at something with fire, bro. I'm telling you, if we get Roquan Smith to be Pro Bowl, Roquan Smith is going to be bad news for the league, okay? Especially for the NFC. And I don't know if I already said this. I need pressure. The D-line needs to create more pressure. They need the quarterback to be very uncomfortable. You can't have the quarterback just sitting here or just trotting out to the field all calm. I need that quarterback scared, bro. I need when you play NCAA and the screen shaking and the lines are looking all squiggly. I need that by the late third into the fourth quarter. I need the quarterback feeling pressured because he's going to start hurrying up his throws. He's going to start missing reads or processing slower. Any little edge you can get on the quarterback, it starts with the defensive line, making him mad uncomfortable. I'm going to need that. When we get all that, I'm telling you, the Ravens are going to get to the Super Bowl. Now, win it is a whole different story, but getting there first is the important part. And I think the Ravens can do it. They just need to do what they got to do. Yes, it would be amazing to somehow trade for Micah Parsons and all this stuff, sure. But sometimes you just need the players you already have to step up, elevate their game, and just be functional pieces of the team. Look what happened with the Giants with their last time they won the Super Bowl. They got a star out of nowhere in the preseason named Victor Cruz, right? Victor Cruz massively stepped up. Mario Manningham massively stepped up. Hakeem Nicks was doing Hakeem Nicks things. You need Sometimes you just need guys you already have in your system to step up. And I think the Ravens have the quality coaching. I think they have the quality players. They just got to get back into form and start hot. I think that first week game, I believe they play the Bills. That's a statement game. Not just because of what happened last season. Because really, until you meet them or whoever in the postseason and get to the Super Bowl, it is what it is. But to start the season out hot with a statement game saying, hey, our defense is even better than where we left off last season, that's amazing. Our offense is just as dynamic, and we're in year 2 of Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. We're looking just as lethal. I'm telling you, it's over for y'all. That'll be great. Hey, we have studs on every phase of the football. Our special teams is looking dynamic. They're looking disciplined and ready. Again, self-inflicted penalties from the offensive line. It needs to end. Lamar Jackson fumbling snaps needs to end. All these self-inflicted things the Ravens were doing last season, the missing kicks, all these things have to stop. If the Ravens stop this, if the Ravens start hot and just realize who the fuck they are and start the season that way, I promise you, is no stopping them this season. And there's a lot of teams who are looking very dangerous, but I'm telling you, I don't care what anyone says. The Ravens have the best roster in football. They have the best roster in football. And the only team I'm concerned about more than anything else, to be honest with you, is the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams looked very scary last postseason. I'm not going to lie. It was looking real dicey. The Rams and the Eagles a little bit, I'm not too sold on them yet, but the Eagles are still defending champions. You got to respect them. The AFC, I'm not worried about the Bengals, Steelers, definitely not the Browns. There's some AFC. There's obviously some AFC. Obviously the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes. He's going to find a way to get stuff done. The Chiefs sometimes can walk into a 13-0 season somehow. So there's that. I do like what the Broncos are doing. I do like that. Not sold on the Raiders. Not sold on the Chargers. So there's a couple of teams. I don't know what's going on with Arizona, but with that being said, that's what I think the Ravens need to do to elevate and hold and hoist that Lombardi trophy. I do think that there are so many self-inflicted. The Ravens continuously beat themselves every season. Every season. And I'm telling you, the stuff you allow in the preseason, the regular season, it will be magnified in the postseason. So all those self-inflicted penalties and messed up timing because you fumble a snap and you have all that stuff shows up later in the season when the possessions shrink, especially when you have a defense that is not known for creating extra possessions for you, right? So you got to be very mindful, and it's a lot of pressure. So hopefully, once all 3 phases of football realize they're a team, they're one unit, and they all start helping each other out, the stress will start lessening, and the game will start opening for them. And I'm really excited to see it. I think this is the year where they take that final step. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm really looking forward to the season. See you on the next one. Peace.